Arsenal fans, he's coming home. In a transfer window where Arsenal looked like they had done their business, Eberechi has thrown us a surprise, as Arsenal hit us with another RKO. Today we're going to break down the Eberechi Eze bomber, discuss all the deals behind the Arsenal agreement, as well as finding out what's happening with Havertz. We'll get the latest on the future of Leandro Trossard, find out where Jakub Kiwior could be going, as well as revealing Mikel Arteta's potential tactical evolution. Yo, what is going on guys, my name is Bass14 and welcome back to your boys channel. We have an Eberechi Eze bomber to break down. The transfer window has surprised once again. So as per, smash like on this video if you do enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy enjoy the 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with the breaking Arsenal news. With the Arsenal players enjoying the 2025 PFA award ceremony, let's just say Arsenal had quite a few representatives. With Mikel Arteta and Josh Kroenke both attending, you also had three of the Arsenal men players, Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba and Declan Rice, with even the Arsenal women doing their thing. From Arsenal's Olivia Smith winning the PFA Women's Young Player of the Year, to Mario Caldenti also winning the PFA Women's Players Player of the Year. Then you had the PFA Team of the Year itself, including three separate Arsenal players. With Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba both at the back, you also had Arsenal's Declan Rice in midfield. And it just goes to show, not only is that back-to-back years of Gabriel Magalhaes making the team of the season, but also for a certain Declan Rice, signing for Arsenal back in summer 2023, with the whole idea of becoming a Premier League superstar. Not only was he voted by the fans for their own PFA Team of the Year, he was also then voted by the players. So the next time you see discourse on social media of Declan Rice not being that good, just remind yourself it's not just the fans that rate him, it's also the players he plays against. But the main man to focus on is actually William Saliba, having now made the PFA Team of the Year for 3 consecutive years. If you go back to 2021-22, he was also a part of the League Team of the Year, 4 Team of the Season nominations over the past 4 seasons. Every year he's been in the Premier League, he's been voted as one of the best defenders, a player that Eberechi has made an absolute priority to get a brand new contract sorted for. There's a reason why Arsenal want to keep Saliba so badly. I always find these PFA Team of the Year so interesting, voted by the players that play in the Premier League themselves. It just goes to show the level of William Saliba. Strikers know how hard he is to play against, and that's why he keeps making these teams. But for Arsenal themselves, their focus turned elsewhere, as Mikel Arteta's men hosted an open training session at the Emirates Stadium, with a lot of Arsenal players involved, including a certain Martin Zubimendi, who according to Sami Mokbel, was struck by a severe sickness bug last week that led to him missing 2 full training sessions and threatened his participation against Manchester United. But given the size of the occasion, Zubimendi was determined to not miss the fixture, proving to Mikel Arteta a sense of reliability. Even if the man himself is struggling, he was still going to find a way to turn up. But in terms of Arsenal and the open training session, there was a certain star boy thriving. We're talking 15-year-old Max Stallman, from breezing past multiple Arsenal players and laying it on plates of Victor Gyökeres, to also completely spinning Miles Lewis-Skelly. A reminder to Arsenal fans once again of his raw talent. This is a player that simply is becoming undeniable. Despite Arsenal giving him an extended break after the end of pre-season, he was a part of the Arsenal squad that travelled to Old Trafford, and even though he wasn't involved, as Arsenal approached their first home game of the season against Leeds United, you do have to wonder, is Mikel Arteta going to throw Max Stallman on the bench? And if Arsenal need him, is Mikel Arteta going to give a 15-year-old his much-awaited Premier League debut? But you also had this report from Tiki Taka Corner, revealing that the open training session, Noni Madueke has been played as a right winger, and Bukayo Saka at the left. This may have been only momentarily, but to Arsenal fans it could be a glimpse into the future, having seen the transformation of Rafinha at Barcelona, despite thriving on the right hand side previously, transforming himself into one of the most potent left wingers in the world, with a whopping 34 goals and 25 assists last season. With the arrival of Madueke, Arsenal do have another natural right forward, similar to Bukayo Saka in the fact that he is left-footed, able to cut inside and offer Arsenal a similar profile. Could that allow Bukayo Saka to be used on the left, enter his very own Rafinha art, and explode in terms of his goal numbers? Because as we saw in that game against Man United, right towards the end of the game Saka was on the left, yet still able to cause massive problems, laying on a plate for Noni Madueke. Now let's move on to the future of Jakub Kiwior, a player that may have been involved in the open training session, but not a part of the matches squad at Man United. According to Fabrizio Romano, FC Porto remain interested in Jakub Kiwior. After Arsenal already turned down a bid in July, he is always high on the list of Porto for a new centre-back, but Arsenal value Kiwior as an important player, and this won't be an easy deal. With even the reliable Sam C reporting, Kiwior is open to leaving Arsenal, with Porto among those interested. A meeting was held yesterday, but Arsenal won't make it easy. The salary is also a stumbling block. Multiple options are being discussed, with the latest being a loan deal, alongside an obligation to buy. This is a deal that Arsenal can recoup a lot of money for. Kiwior is not a player that Arsenal are actively looking to sell, but having seen the centre-back market become inflated, take for example Chelsea and Renato Vega, a player that suffered just £12 million last summer, despite making only 1 Premier League start for the club. He has just been sold for £25 million to Villarreal. That is something that Arsenal simply need to learn from. When you look at Liverpool and Chelsea and the amount of money they're spending, a lot of that's because they are also fantastic in making player sales. With Liverpool selling Luis Diaz for £75 million, as well as getting £50 million for Darwin Núñez, that is why they've been able to make moves for Ekitike, Havertz and even Isak, with Arsenal's record departure still being Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, recouping €38 million, all the way back in 2017. It makes you wonder for Jakub Kiwior, if Arsenal do agree to a sale, let's just say a team from the Premier League comes in, can Arsenal break the record departure? But talking of Arsenal futures, let's talk Leandro Trossard. After a whole summer of being chased by multiple clubs, the likes of Borussia Dortmund and Brentford, according to reports in Germany, Trossard also rejected a move to Bayern Munich after direct talks with Vincent Kompany, a player that Arsenal were open to letting go. But now you have the breaking news. According to a Gunner blog exclusive, Leandro Trossard has agreed a new deal at Arsenal. The 30-year-old will have his salary increased to reflect his valued role in the squad. The deal was not extended and will still run to 2027. With even Ben Jacobs confirming, Trossard has agreed improved terms at Arsenal, but remains contracted until summer 2027. Initial approaches this summer for Brentford and Dortmund, but Trossard is still valued by Arsenal, who stuck to a high valuation, decision now taken to reward the 30-year-old. A move that had a lot of Arsenal fans questioning. Why were Arsenal giving a player a new contract? Just to increase his wages, not only making a future sale harder, but without actually extending the player's contract, they also weren't increasing his market value. Honestly, a very confusing move that caused a lot of controversy. But in the case of Mikel Arteta, I believe he was going for reliability. The only Arsenal forward last season to feature in all 38 of Arsenal's games, despite him not scoring anywhere near enough goals. With him not being a guaranteed starter this season, Mikel Arteta still clearly sees him as a game changer coming off the bench. Having scored 17 goals in 2023-24, we know that Trossard off the bench can be a very useful player, but for Arsenal fans the bigger concern wasn't about Trossard, but more how it would impact our potential signings. Were Arsenal still going to move for a wide forward if Trossard was set to stay? But football at times is a game of dominoes, and in this case the dominoes started to fall after it was confirmed by Simon Collins that Benjamin White, Christian Norgard and Kai Havertz were not at Arsenal's open training session at the Emirates Stadium this morning. In terms of Kai Havertz, we got some breaking news from David Ornstein, confirming that the Arsenal forward Kai Havertz is set for a spell out with a knee injury. Assessments on the 26-year-old German international at an early stage, so prognosis and duration still unclear, but Arsenal were actively exploring the transfer market for a signing to strengthen the attack and provide cover. With Gary Jacobs also confirming Havertz sustained his knee injury during Arsenal's win over Manchester United last weekend, but for Arsenal losing a major forward, not only putting more pressure on Victor Gyökeres, who it was recently confirmed will become Arsenal's official penalty taker this year ahead of Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. Despite a fantastic performance against Athletic Bilbao in his first ever Premier League start, Gyökeres was far from thriving, with even Mikel Arteta saying he did a lot of things very good, but you can tell especially in our high press and the rhythm that we demand, especially in the first half, we were giving them too much time. It's something that we have to look on and work with him, especially there. And then the finalising situations. He didn't have that many chances to do that, because we didn't manage to put the ball through to exploit its quality. But overall, coming away to Manchester United and winning your first game with Arsenal, it's a good start. The main thing Mikel Arteta referring to being the Arsenal press, with Arsenal being one of the very best in all of Europe, Gyökeres was always going to need time to adapt to how Arsenal want to play. To then lose a forward like Havertz, who may not offer the same level of goal threat as Gyökeres, but definitely knows how to defend from the front. According to Team News and Ticks, although the club are still assessing, the early prognosis is Havertz has not suffered an ACL injury, but for how long is he going to be out for and how serious the injury is? For Arsenal it had become even more evident. They had to move for another forward. So moving on to the Eberechi Eze bomber. After Fabrizio confirmed that Arsenal are back on the market for new opportunities up front, after the injury suffered by Kai Havertz, Arsenal are aware of the situation that they need one more player up front. But in the case of Eberechi Eze, a player that Arsenal made a move for early in the window, but looks set to go to Tottenham Hotspur. Even according to David Ornstein earlier in the day, Arsenal love Eberechi Eze, and if the price had been in the range of £40 million, maybe you could push it a bit higher, then perhaps it would have been a different conversation. If his move to Tottenham touches £60 million, that is not a place that Arsenal were comfortable with. With even Matt Law confirming, should Arsenal be forced into the market, sources do not expect Arsenal to react to Kai Havertz's injury by trying to make a big money late signing. Instead, the expectation is the club will look at the loan market or possible cut price opportunities. With Matt Law also reporting, sources believe that Jamie Vardy has been waiting to see whether a big Premier League club could make a move for him before settling on his future, although there is no suggestion currently that Arsenal will make a move for him. The Arsenal fan base was in meltdown, not only losing a key target like Eze to Tottenham, but names like Jamie Vardy in 2025. So despite the Ben Jacobs breaking reports that Tottenham had reached an agreement in principle with Crystal Palace for Eberechi Eze, Palace themselves closing into the deal for Bilal El-Khanous, Eze was going to North London but not to Arsenal. It was breaking so many hearts. I myself had admitted defeat, but as life as an Arsenal fan has proved time and time again, Arsenal themselves love the surprise. So following a David Ornstein bomber, confirming that Arsenal had made a move for Eberechi Eze, the 27-year-old wants to sign for them, Tottenham lined up a deal with Crystal Palace today, but after Kai Havertz's injury, Arsenal are now closing in on the England international. If he proceeds with his choice, Tottenham will pursue other targets instead. A report that I had to check twice. Was it actually David Ornstein? Was it a troll report instead? But as Fabrizio confirmed soon after, Arsenal had made the approach to Crystal Palace to sign Eberechi Eze, a surprise move following Kai Havertz's knee injury, as Arsenal tried to offer more to both the player and Palace to try and win the race against Tottenham. Not only had Arsenal made their move, but they also had the player's preference, with even Sam T reporting Eberechi Eze's dream was always been to join Arsenal. That, my friend, should not be a surprise. Not only a former player of Arsenal's Hell End Academy, after being released at just 13 years of age, even in November 2018 when playing for Queen's Park Rangers, Eze confirmed once again that Arsenal is my favourite Premier League team. I supported them from young and played for them when I was young, so it's my favourite team. Even celebrating against Tottenham Hotspur last season by smiling and giggling. The idea of a former Arsenal boy and an Arsenal fan going to Tottenham, it was starting to break my heart. But as confirmed by Ben Jacobs, Arsenal were prepared to pay £60 million to match Spurs' package for Eberechi Eze, with Eze expected to choose Arsenal. We then got news from Fabrizio confirming Arsenal are convinced that Eberechi Eze prefers to join them over Tottenham, a £60 million package offered to Palace, with easier add-ons and faster payment terms to try to beat Spurs. Negotiations underway. This was a deal that was accelerating rapidly, with Fabrizio then confirming Palace have accepted Arsenal's £60 million package for Eberechi Eze. Agreement done club to club, with Arsenal finalising contract terms with Eze. The player is keen on joining the Arsenal project. Arsenal were making moves on the heist of the window, stealing a target from the North London rivals. According to Spurs source Alistair Gold, behind the scenes Spurs agreed to Palace's terms today and agreed terms with Eze. The player was ready to go to Tottenham, but Palace were yet to finalise the deal, as they wanted Eze available for tomorrow night's European game. Then came in Arsenal late this afternoon, also agreeing to Palace's terms, and the player chose Arsenal due to his connection to them. This news gave me a certain level of dopamine that I have not felt for a very long time, a transfer that has re-energised the Arsenal fan base. All the doom and gloom turning into all the excitement, Arsenal had cashed in their money in the bank, with a former star boy set to return home. As confirmed by David Ornstein, Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle with Crystal Palace to sign Eberechi Eze, a deal worth around the expiry release clause of £68 million, matching what Tottenham are ready to pay. Personal terms also close. The player will play for Palace on Thursday, before his Arsenal medical. And boy oh boy are Arsenal getting a player, one that not only comes at the peak of his powers at 27 years of age, but ultimately offers Arsenal gravity, elite ball carrying on that left hand side, a player that will naturally attract players towards him, not only giving more space to Bukayo Saka, but also Arsenal's brand new striker in Victor Gyökeres. The beauty of signing Eberechi Eze is very simple. What Arsenal really struggle at, Eze really thrives. And according to Miguel Delaney, it is also possible that Jakub Kiwior moves to Crystal Palace in a separate deal from Eberechi Eze, a player that deserves an entire breakdown, coming very soon on your boys' channel. But also in terms of Kai Havertz, you never want to wish injury on any player, but after suffering a late knee injury, it forced Arsenal's hands to make a move. Kai, I wish you a very speedy recovery, but Arsenal have shown their hand once again, paying £68 million for a player. The money has always been available, even without a sale. This image here is about to go triple platinum. Bukayo Saka, Noni Madueke and Eberechi Eze, all set to be Arsenal players this season. There is a growing feeling in the entire Arsenal fan base we might have just added the final piece of the jigsaw, with Arsenal already being amazing against the Big Six, 22 games unbeaten since May 2023. As Gary Neville said on the recent Monday Night Football, this is brilliant. Everything that Arsenal won 5, 6 or 7, 8 years ago. Everything we wanted them to be. When you think of old Arsenal sides, they were always tough. They had great backlines. They could see games at 1-0. They kept clean sheets and big matches. As well as saying that Arsenal are a title-winning team that have not won a title. They need to change that. Even according to Liverpool forward Mo Salah, speaking at the recent PFA ceremony, I think that Arsenal have a great team this season. You have a really good chance. I think that you are the favourites now, because you have players that have been together for 5 years. A squad that will now include a certain Eberechi Eze, as Fabrizio gave us the famous 3 words. Eberechi Eze to Arsenal, here we go. Verbal agreement in place between all parties. Crystal Palace will receive a package in excess of £60 million, as Eze preferred Arsenal over Spurs. Arsenal win the race over Tottenham, who were in advanced talks for days, but never sealed the deal. That, my friends, is the video there and there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to that channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all over social media, the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest after transfer news today. After an Eberechi Eze bomber, I just can't stop smiling. I've got a certain level of excitement, and you know what? A former star boy is returning home, my friends. I will be here once again to break everything down and discuss the player and how he fits in. My friends, I'll see you next time though. Take care. Eberechi Eze, welcome to Arsenal, and in a bit.